Hey everybody. So in today's Days Garage video, we're going to be attempting to install the lower torque box reinforcements for the Cougar. So now I say attempting because you can see here I actually have two sets of different torque box reinforcements here. The one in the middle, if you can see, they're relatively lined up. This one here is for Fox Mustang. And you can see I bought it, thinking that, hey, they're probably pretty similar. Yeah, not even close. If you see how far off the bolt is, just based on the bottom, if they're lined up at the bottom, I mean, that's a good inch and a half there difference between the top and the bolt hole. So yeah, I got these and obviously did not fit, so I realized now I should have ordered I didn't realize there were Fox Cougar torque box reinforcements that were different. So we're going to attempt to install these. They should work, hopefully, because they were designed for our car. So if you do own a Fox Cougar, like an 83 through an 88, make sure you order the specific ones for the car. Also, these plates are quite a bit different. I think they're just machined slightly different. The holes aren't obviously the same on these. On the bottom section, or the top, I guess, because that'll be what goes up into the floor pan of the car. They're different pattern. Size is slightly different as well. So as you can see, the gauge of the metal is pretty similar here. It's hard to line it up, but so yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Let's go ahead and try and take a look here. I'm going to try and get one of these in. If you haven't done torque box reinforcements, it's this piece that I'm holding right here is what goes up into the bottom of into the floor pan of the car, and this side is where the lower control arm bolts in. So hopefully the one side, the driver's side, if you have the nut on the outside of the car, you can just unscrew the nut and put this in, tighten the nut down, and then you should have a spot for the drilling up through the floor. So it makes it relatively easy. If you have the bolt head on the outside of the car, obviously it becomes a little bit more challenging because you have to remove the bolt, and you're not just removing a nut on the end of the bolt. So that would make it a little bit more challenging to do. Alright, we will go ahead and get started. Alright, I got the driver's side in. So for these Cougar plates, at least, the person who creates them makes the notches on the top here square and gives you these nice bolts that have the square opening at the top, or the square, whatever it is. It's the square at the top of the bolt, so that it doesn't turn when you're screwing it down. So you don't have to have a wrench on the top and a wrench on the bottom, which is nice. As you can see here, we got them all lined up and ready to go. Little trick, I don't know if it's the right way to do it, but I was able to, because of how they're lined up on the bottom, and I'll show you that in a second here, there was issues of putting my drill in there and getting a straight hole, so I put a small drill bit on the end of an extension and kind of punched a little hole through and then drilled down through the top. So it makes it a little easier just because there's not much room down there. But as you can see here, we got all 4 bolts in, and I'll break and go to the bottom here in a second. Alright, and as you can see here, we're on the bottom. This is towards the front of the car, so front of the car is the bottom of the video. This is the lower control arm right here, obviously, and as you can see, the plate sits between the wall of the control arm here and the floor pan. And as you can see, if I can get the video in there, there are the 4 bolts sticking down through with the washers on them, and the nylon lock washers or lock nuts on there. And that's pretty much all there is to it. There were the bottom 2 down there are a little tough to get. Tough to get in there because they, you butt right up against this opening here when you're using the drill. And never mind my little thing here, I had to bend that out for the alignment of the measurement of the alignment for the new K-member, so I'll fix that before I do any painting on here. But probably throw some black paint on here and call it good. And I get to move on to the other side. Alright, I got the passenger side all set up. As I mentioned earlier, there is a trick, I think. At least on the Cougar, there's a like a grommet. So one of the bolts goes through the grommet hole, which is rather large. So once you get that one lined up, you can kind of snug it up a little bit so it holds the plate up underneath and then the plate down on the top. There's only really one bolt hole that is easy to drill from the bottom, and you'll see it when you're doing it. I believe it's the one. So the grommet one is the one on the right here, the one that kind of sticks out. And I believe it's this top one here that is the easier one to drill through, but I'd have to crawl underneath, and I don't really feel like doing that again, so you'll know it. But then the other ones, I had to use an extension and a small drill bit and kind of drill up through the bottom, kind of a really long, kind of wobbly drill bit. I wasn't able to punch through, but I was able to make a divot on the top that I was able to line up with the plate and drill down to finish the hole on both sides, actually. And then as you tighten it up, you kind of go around in a 4 pattern, kind of tighten them up, because as you tighten one, the other ones get loose because you're kind of flattening the floor out. Only other trick I encountered here is, I don't have 2 people out here working, so I took a big car battery and stuck it right on top of these when I had all 4 bolts in, and it does a nice job of holding the bolts down for you when you're trying to tighten. Because unfortunately in the torque boxes I couldn't get a thumb in there. I could only get fingers, so you're kind of balancing a washer on top of a nylon lock nut and hoping, praying that the thing doesn't fall out of your hands like it did about 1,000 times. So I am done for today. I've got both lower torque box reinforcement plates installed. I don't know if I'm going to do the top ones. I guess I have to investigate to see whether the top ones are actually the same, because they're slightly different. They are like this. They've got this big old plate on the top, and they've got a underneath plate. So I'd have to see if these line up properly, because this plate fits right up on this hump here on the behind the seat back. But I think that's a project for another day. So thanks for watching and tuning in, and join me next time.